want to queue up our alumni presenter, but I also wanted to share a couple of updates from those who are here in the room, as well as those who are joining us virtually. I wanted to say thank you to Dr. Taylor Watterson, who's been a great supporter not only as a learner, but also during her time training in her PhD. She had come back as a presenter around how reporting the stress and potential measurements of burnout for pharmacists as a part of her PhD, which is then translated into her most recent academic appointment at the University of Illinois in Chicago. And I wanted to just share how excited we are for her new lab and her new work, and hopefully we'll be able to have her present in a year's time the incredible work that she's done. But I also invite anyone here in the audience, if you're interested in following along with the work of the Scripps Lab and the incredible effort that they're making towards patient safety across the use of medications, please feel free to learn more about their work directly on their site here. Thank you, Dr. Watterson, for joining us today. Congrats on fantastic outcomes. As an example of how our work is being recognized across the world, I wanted to highlight that at the International Pharmacy Conference, FIP, in Brisbane this past September, we had a very kind shout out in an approximate quote from the Chief Medical Officer of Amazon Pharmacy, who recognized the work out of our School of Pharmacy in incorporating and understanding the role of technology in pharmacy practice and patient experience. And this gives me a good transition to call on someone here in the audience that for 2024, the FIP conference in South Africa and Cape Town, we had a chance to have our own faculty submit. And this is a chance both to brag about our faculty as well as our alumni. Dr. Martha Nungu joining us here in person as a professor at the School of Pharmacy, as well as a peer mentor back from one of our first iterations in 2017. Dr. Funto Babalola were accepted recently for their work in identifying how access to continuous glucose monitoring is affecting the question of outcomes and impact. So congratulations to Dr. Martha Nungu. And I had to squeeze that in there. Co-author with you. With that, I'll invite our first alumni update at one of our Innovation Lab meetups with Dr. Miranda Steinkopf, with whom it was a pleasure to work with. One of the first times we had ever rolled out a university-based app for fast healthcare interoperability resources. We were taking med lists from EHR systems and feeding them directly to anyone's iPhone. And she was part of the group that made that possible. So when I thought of the opportunity to have her back, I absolutely jumped at it. And so with that, I will turn things over with a quick note of introduction that Dr. Steinkopf is a 2019 grad who spent time completing her pharmacy residency at the Oregon State Health University, OHSU, not OSHU. I got a double wrong.
But that's okay. It's all in Oregon.
In Oregon, we had the chance to not only follow Dr. Steinkopf's progress across practice settings, but now in her most recent role, what I asked her back to share about one of the challenges and opportunities we face across innovation is how do we define such an abstract term for something so important as the practice of pharmacy? So with that prompt, I will turn things over to Dr. Miranda Steinkopf. Thank you for being here.
Thank you so much for having me. It's really exciting to be here. Being part of the Innovation Lab when I was in school was one of my favorite things, and so it's really cool to come back and see how much it's grown. I think there were like 3 to 5 of us at the time, and so to see this room full of so many people is really cool. And just, it speaks volumes to how much it's grown since I was here. So really cool. Like Dr. Patel said, I'm just going to talk a little bit today about what I do in my current role and kind of how that connects to innovation and transformation and these really big words that are really hard to define. So I'm currently working at the American Association of Colleges of Pharmacy, which is the national association that represents all the schools and colleges of pharmacy across the country and faculty members at all the schools and colleges. Fun place to work because you can have a lot of impact on a lot of people. Because if you think about how many people you touch when you touch all the schools and colleges of pharmacy, and then how many patients are impacted by the people at those colleges and schools of pharmacy, there's a lot of people involved. And so in my role, I'm currently the Director of Transformation and Health Equity at AACP. And that was a role that was created after I completed a fellowship at the American Association of Colleges of Pharmacy, really with the intention of splitting my time between this new initiative that we have called the AACP Transformation Center and work that we have going on in health equity. So I'm primarily going to focus my talk today a little bit about the AACP Transformation Center, but happy to talk a little bit about what I do in the health equity world as well if you want to chat afterwards. So the AACP Transformation Center is new. It was created and really just came about back maybe 2 years ago at most. And I say maybe because it's one of those things that's been a little bit nebulous as it grows. And that's probably something you all are pretty familiar with, because when you're doing innovation and transformation, when things get started, they're a little messy and they can be kind of hard. So it's something that's continuing to evolve, but really what the AACP Transformation Center does and has set out to do is figure out how colleges and schools of pharmacy can help to advance pharmacy practice. So we're really looking at that intersection that exists between the education of pharmacists and what's happening out there in practice, and how we bring those two things together to make sure that all of the people involved in both sides of that equation are working on transformation and innovation together. So through this work, we've created a couple definitions for transformation and innovation, which is what Dr. Patel asked me to talk a little bit about. And I just want to start by saying we don't have the answer to this. So the definition that I have up here is not at all something that I think should be used in all settings, but it's what we use to guide our work. And I think that's what is important, is you need to define it for yourself and figure out what you mean by it. So for transformation, we define that as it includes something but is not limited to integral and dramatic changes and shifts from the past and transition to meet today's needs. So that's really broad, and it can mean a lot of different things, and I think that's really what we were going for. We don't want to limit ourselves when we're looking at what different types of transformation we can do in this center that we've created. And then for innovation, our definition is that it includes but is not limited to new and or unique ideas, processes, methods, products, and resources. So if you look at that, there's so many different things that we could focus on in these spaces. So it's not just products, it's not just tools, it's anything that is new that we can bring to the table. In a lot of cases, what I'm working on is new models that we can bring to different practices and things like that. So you can see here the goals too that we have for the Transformation Center, and I'll just let you read through those yourselves. But really, hopefully from what I've said, you can tell that really what we're trying to do is transform the profession as a whole by really figuring out how the schools and colleges can help with that. And students are a big part of that, because you're the drivers of change of the future. So we had to narrow the scope a little bit, so I was really glad that some of the presenters already talked about how important scope of a project is. We can't deal with all transformation and all innovation at once. And so what we're really focusing on right now is transformation in the community pharmacy setting. And a huge partner that we have in that area is the Academia Community Transformation Pharmacy Collaborative, which is actually started here at the University of Pittsburgh and is managed out of the University of Pittsburgh. So it's been really cool to continue to partner with my alma mater in that way to transform pharmacy practice. So I think I didn't really answer the question that Dr. Patel asked me to answer, but I hope that some of those thoughts get you thinking about how to broadly define transformation and innovation to allow what it needs to be in whatever setting you're working in. Thanks.
If we have time for a question, I'll field one from the audience and I can hand off the mic. Otherwise, I'll make Caleb Short share a question. Even if you graduate, you're not free from my random volume telling you. Questions? Well, with that, I'll just say thank you to Dr. Steinkopf. Please do take that opportunity to say hello, do present your questions, because it's such a great opportunity to learn from a perspective that's looking at it in such a unique lens. So thank you again.
Thank you.